Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. I thought today I would do a video that I personally would find really helpful, and I've had a lot of positive comments, especially like through other, like I get YouTube comments too, but I get like a lot of Instagram DMs about tirzepatide and weight loss and specifically hormonal weight loss, all that kind of stuff. So I thought it'd be advantageous to do a video around this time of the year. This is going up right after Thanksgiving. I'm filming this a little bit early because I'm making Thanksgiving. So my whole week of Thanksgiving is booked, so I can't film this then. Anyway, so I thought I would do a video on my eating plan and tips. This is for the holiday season. I want to start with, this is not me saying, one, this is gospel. This is also not me vilifying or like disordering any sort of food thing. This is very much a personal journey. I think everybody's on their journey. I certainly am on mine. And then I also want to say, if you have not seen any of my other videos, I need to contextualize this for multiple reasons. Primarily, I need you to understand where I'm coming from. So I had hormonal weight gain over the course of 2.5 years. I gained 43 pounds from hormone imbalance, essentially, and I'm in perimenopause. So I didn't know that. And it took being turned away by 3 different doctors saying everything's fine, you're just getting older, when I knew things were wrong, ballooning to a size that's just completely unhealthy for somebody. I'm 5'4.5". Like, it's completely unhealthy for me to be the size I was. Learned I had perimenopause, so I have been put on HRT and I did tirzepatide. I mean, it's a whole different video on like the success of both. It's a multi-pronged approach, but I wanted to contextualize where I'm coming from with my advice, because if you're, like 22 and completely different situation, like obviously do you, right? But I've had enough positive feedback to know that this is something that people want to hear. They want to know what I'm doing. So I thought I would share it with you. And yeah. So let's get into it. I have quite a few tips. I have quite a few like things that I'm doing. And this is just like, this is how I'm approaching the holidays, with how busy I am with all the, like, my dad's gonna be here. We've got the girls, we have an annual holiday party. We're busy people, right? We're middle-aged, busy people. So this is just how I keep myself from falling off the rails, really, right? The first thing I am aiming to do is I'm really going to aim for a 24 to 36 hour fast once a week. Now, I can tell you I have tried to do that I've made it to like 21. I have not actually made it to 24. Yesterday I was 18 and a half. Right now I'm at, what am I at? A little over 17. And I won't be breaking it for at least 2 more hours, because just my days already, it's a Thursday. It's always the hardest day of the week for me. I have like no adrenaline left on Thursdays. And so it's just like sheer will and caffeine. And Jeremy didn't buy my milk at the grocery store the other night, so I have no milk, so I can't make my protein coffee. So I'm just black coffee still. That's all that to say. My goal is to somehow manage to do, I'm trying to work my way up. That's my point. A 24 to 36 hour fast. 36 hour fast is the fat burner fast. 24 hour, there's a lot of benefits to that one too. I approach fasting from a perimenopause perspective, from a hormone balance perspective. So you do you if your situation is different. But for me, especially with how I approach my nutrition, this is really important for my nutrition. So let's talk about that. I am going to carb cycle, that's like to put a label on it, for balance and for metabolic flexibility. Balance meaning I want to be able to go to a holiday party. I don't want to be the person that's like making a big deal out of something that's not a big deal. I also think it's really healthy. And one of the doctors that I follow, her name's Dr. Mindy Pelz. I typically have one of her books linked below. That's really helpful. She talks a lot about metabolic flexibility. So being able to go between like ketones and glucose for how you burn. And I think carb cycling for me during the holidays feels the most like natural approach. Like, you don't want to go nuts, but you also want to be able to live. You know what I mean? So I plan on trying to aim for like a couple of days a week, low carb, and then a couple of days a week, not going on a bender, but not like really watching it. You know what I mean? Like if I go to a party or whatever, I want to be able to indulge in whatever they've got. That being said, something I do in general, but I'm definitely maintaining in the holidays, watching sugar. With my current like docket of issues that I've got nutritionally and health-wise, watching sugar has been such a game changer for me. And it's something that I really didn't value until I learned how much damage it does to your body, especially women that are in hormonal change. So it makes me so mad how much we don't talk about this with women and how much it can impact like young women, like teenage, 12, like starting their period kind of era. It just is insane to me. But for how I'm going into the holidays, I really try to avoid like a white sugar. I really do. So I tend to, like in the scope of a party, I just don't eat the white sugar. And it, it's a party, so it's probably in everything. But there's always more sugar, there's always more alcohol during the holidays, right? So I just try to make really wise decisions. I really try to practice mindfulness in general with treats kind of stuff. But yeah, high level, if it looks like straight up white sugar, I just don't eat it. And the way I look at it is the way a lot of people are starting to look at alcohol, where it's like, I just don't want to deal with I don't want to deal with the repair mode I got to go into. So it's the same thing with me. Also, my skin, I noticed with Halloween candy, I had 4 pieces of Halloween candy and I got a breakout from every single piece. I had 1 piece a day for 4 days, and like literally every day, the next day I'd wake up with a new breakout. And I was like, this is crazy. So I stopped, and I had my skin clear. I was like, bananas. Anyway, so there's that. Movement is also a thing I'm doing. So if you haven't seen my other videos recently, I have some back issues that have been really bothering me, and I've been in PT. I had to go to the emergency room, like a whole thing. So had an MRI done. I herniated and tore my L3, L4, and that is the most recent thing I've done. So it's a chronic issue, but this is the newest one. Anyway, my PT has approved me for movement. She's allowed me to take walks again. I'm not allowed to, where we live is really hilly, and I'm not allowed to go up the big hills yet, but I am allowed to walk on the smaller hills and the more flat areas. So she wants me to keep the walks pretty short, like 15 minutes. So I've been doing that every morning when I take the girls to the bus stop. And then I am allowed to do Pilates and bar, but Pilates and I aren't getting along right now. It's too much on my back, so I've been doing bar. So just daily movement. I'm allowed to do the Peloton, but I'm not allowed to get up out of the seat. So typically it's like watch TV or something while just going through the motions of like being on the bike, or I'll you can get your heart rate up without going hard, or I can do like a low impact ride. But even then it's like, I am totally that person on a Peloton bike that like gets really into it and like pushes themselves to get into the music. I love me a spin class. I really do. So it's like kind of better that I don't even tempt myself. You know what I mean? But yeah, so just daily movement in some way. And because of my physical stuff, I don't want to push it too hard to where I can't do it again the next day. So a little bit every day, you get it. Okay, so then the next one, hydration. So this is not a problem for me, but it is something that I think about a lot with other people, i.e. Jeremy. Hydration is critical. Like, you have to be properly hydrated. Your body is mostly water. So I make sure I drink, what do I drink? Like 80 plus ounces of water a day. 80 to a gallon a day is what I aim for. I also drink a lot of coffee. So, you're supposed to drink, I think they said like a half an ounce for every pound you weigh, but I drink a lot of coffee. So I got to counter that too. So I typically drink, though, I'd say, oh God, most days of the week, well over 100 ounces, well over. But usually, I think even the worst day, it's like 80. But that's a big one too, because you feel satiated, and you don't, when you've had water, you tend to, like enough water especially, you don't tend to eat as much because you have volume in you, right? Nutrition wise, the number one thing I aim for is protein. They want you to have a gram for every pound that you weigh. My protein coffee has 44 grams of protein. 42, 44. I don't know. 42, because my AG1 has 2. So I just combined them. They're 44, sorry. So 42 grams in my coffee. I typically will have, most days of the week, I'll have a cottage cheese, like a whole thing, a big thing of cottage cheese. That's like 55 grams of protein. So like that right there is 100 grams, and then dinner. So I don't typically have a big problem hitting my protein goals. I also have gone back in the last year to eating meat. I was a 20-year vegetarian, and in an effort, because of health problems, I had gained nothing. this is a whole ass other video, but I went back to eating meat, and I will tell you, I really didn't want to admit this to myself. Like, it took me 8 weeks to psych myself into drinking bone broth, but I really do feel so much better. Like, I feel so much better. And I have a lot of vegetarian friends that were like, look into long-term vegetarianism issues. Like, ooh, we don't want to talk about this, but there's a reason. So everybody's different. I'm not like trying to light a fire, but eating animal protein for my protein has been huge for my like reducing inflammation in my body, my digestion. I mean, I just feel so much. I feel satiated. Like, that was a thing I never felt. I was just like either stuffed or I could still eat. But like, no, I'm good. That was like, I remember the first time I felt that, and I had chicken, and I was like, wow, cool. You know, you're not like, you're just, okay, I'm good. That was awesome. Anyway, so protein. Rest and sleep is another one. I will die on this hill. I never valued my rest like I do now. You can ask Jeremy, I'm like militant about my nighttime routine. I'm such an asshole about it. I am like in bed. I'm not kidding. I want to be in bed by 8 o'clock. It doesn't always happen because we've got kids at different ages, and like, you know, they've got like after school things, and I mean, hell, tonight's not going to happen. But on an ideal night, I want dinner on the table. I want to be done with an ideal night. I want to be done eating by 5:30. I want to have my cup of tea or whatever. I want my wind down time. I want like all my PM routine stuff. I want all that done. I want to have my makeup off at 7, like 7 o'clock. I start my makeup, removal, skincare, you know, lotions, potions, all that kind of stuff, melatonin. And I want to be in bed. And then I want to be asleep by 9 because I tend to get up between 4 and 5 in the morning. It's like, it sounds crazy, but when you do the math, it's like, oh, she's still getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You know what I mean? So very important to me. I also wear an Oura ring. Like, I take this shit so seriously because I'm in perimenopause, and that's like the first thing they tell you. I mentioned a longer fast first thing. The thing I do every day is I do intermittent fast every day. I do like fluctuate in hours. I tend to not repeat the same hours every day. So I'll range anywhere from, I think in the last several months, the lowest I've been is 12. It's very easy for me to do 12 hours. That takes no effort. And the most I've done is 72. I've done that once. And that's a muscular skeletal fast. I did that for my back. It didn't help. Like it did, but then the second you ate it, it came back, and no. But I typically rotate between like 14 and 18 to 20 a day. Like, that's typically where I'm at. It really depends on the night and like how late we were out, you know, that kind of stuff. I can push my morning because black coffee's fine, but intermittent fasting daily, big. A big thing with the holidays, if you drink, is drinking. So I aim for low sugar alcohol, natural wines, spontaneous fermentation. They don't add sugar to the wine, so that's always a really nice option. It's like diabetics can have that. It's all fine. I typically follow that kind of thing. If a diabetic can have it, I'll do it. I'll do like a simple cocktail, like a spritz or something that's just simple. I don't want a lot of stuff in it. I'll go artisanal, but I don't want like sugar. I don't like a lot of sugar in it, right? That's my big thing, is I really try to avoid sugar, white sugar, and I really try to avoid simple carbs as much as I can. I want fermentation in my food, but like during the holidays, that's just like, if I'm gonna go out, you're not gonna have you're not gonna find my bread anywhere, right? So hell, I don't even serve my bread at our big holiday party because there's too many people. I just try to avoid it as best I can. If it looks like spectacular, yes, I will indulge, but I'm not gonna have 4 helpings of it. And I'm also, the next day, I'm gonna try to fast a long time. It's just like a mindfulness element to it, which takes me into this. There's a baseline sort of attitude that I've really adopted since I've learned all of this, and it's been really helpful. One is that it's not about, you know, climbing the whole mountain in a day. It's your daily habits. It's you being consistent. It's training, right? So your daily habits really outweigh the occasional splurges. So if you have a night where you just ate like everything, you know, you had the whole thing, that's fine. You're a person. You are allowed to do that, right? There's like, no one's coming for you. The next day, don't, you know, just just have a lighter day. And naturally, I find this too, like your body's like, whoa, I need a minute. So like it's fine, but like your everyday habits, those little walks, the water, the protein priority, all of that, it helps move your body and heal your body and get it back to where it needs to be, right? Because nobody likes feeling. I was thinking that Monty Python sketch where this is such a specific dated reference, but when the guy pops, I always think of that. The other thing at parties, I pick protein over treats, protein and fat over like treats. So I typically will find like the cheese plate, the charcuterie, if there's any sort of little like a burger bite or a bacon or whatever, like I will go for that over what's the thing I see, cookies or something like that, right? Like unless there's some like crazy, like a croquembouche or like something like holy shit, then I'll totally go for that. But like for the most part, cheese, charcuterie. I also think going into a party vibe, go into it not starving. Like I read a book years ago and she said like have soup before a party. Like basically have volume. You want warmth and you want volume. And I think like hot tea would probably, or bone broth or something like that would be really helpful. But just in general, like listen to your body. Like what do you want? Like what are you in the mood for? And then go into a party where you're not like, I saved all my calories for this. Because the problem with that is you go in, especially as you get older, is you go in and it still takes your body time to register to your brain, we're done. So then you go from like satisfied to uncomfortably full in like 25 minutes and you're just miserable. And then you're just kind of in this like, fuck it, might as well, damage is done. It's not great. When you kind of go in with the not as like ravenous, you can do a lap of what you want and go, okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Right. And then you make better decisions. You're not just like everything. It's like when you go to the grocery store hungry and you just buy all the shit you would never buy. Don't do that. Right. Like go in after dinner and that way you're like all your bells and whistles are working. I also think this is fat. I think it's so important to eat enough fat in your diet because fat is how everything works. It's how your brain repairs itself. It's how your skin repairs itself. I mean, so much of your body relies on adequate fat. So if you're feeling a little nutty, eat some cheese or whatever, right? Like just have some fat. Don't eat like a Milky Way, but have some like actual fat, like high quality fat. I'm a complete snob when it comes to, I have no problem admitting this, like I'll die on this hill. Food quality is so important to me. I'm obviously not buying for other people's parties, so like I can't like shit talk them, and I wouldn't do that. But as far as the everyday of what I eat, I will go extreme distances for quality of food. Like I buy all of our protein from local farms. I buy my dairy from local farms. I really try to support local like farmers, ranchers, producers in general. Like I ask those tough questions. Like I have a farm, like I have a garden. We're going to put in a vineyard. Like it is one of my most passionate hobbies that I have. I love to cook. Like I care, all of this to say, I care deeply about food quality. So for me, this is all worth it. To you, if you're like, yeah, I'm happy eating a lean cuisine and a Diet Coke, that's totally fine. Live your life. But like, regardless of what your food philosophy is, and regardless of what your like, intentions and food quality ethics and all that kind of stuff, like whatever, there are ways to set yourself up for success. And I think I'm going to end on that. I think that's really paramount. No matter what your calendar looks like, you can take, like, this is something that I do once a week, because I'll look at my calendar and I'll look at okay, do we have kids? What else is going on? Is this going to be sticky? Like what are those spots in the week that like the wheels are going to fall off the wagon? And this happens at least once a week where like the whole day just goes to shit and you're like, oh my God, right? So how do you set yourself up for success? So it's either you've got a great place to go to for takeout. We're really lucky that we've got a drive-through spot that's got really like solid food standards. There's some options if you really do the research or like meal prep. That's something that I do like once or twice a week. I'll make a batch of something and then I'll ration it for the rest of the time. I also have gotten really into slow cookers. Lately, I have a new slow cooker that I'm like fully obsessed with. I love that thing because it takes me, I don't know, 5 minutes to just dump stuff into it at 10 o'clock in the morning when I'm thinking about it. And then I come back in 6 hours and it's done. And it just, when I tell you the delight that I feel, I mean, it really is. It's purely delight. It is delight. I'm delighted by the slow cooker because it gets a homemade, high quality meal on my table in what takes me 30 minutes or less of active time. What a gift. What a gift every day. What a gift. So that's how I set myself up for success during really like tense, stressful, whatever. Because you can get food on the table and you're done. You are done. We are done by like, hell, 5:40. It was awesome. Like, I love that. That's my dream. So 5:30, 5:40. Seriously, Jeopardy dinner, my favorite. Anyway, so whatever that is for you though, however, whether it's like making sure you've got enough meals for one in your fridge or whatever it is, setting yourself up for success so that when you do have those days or moments of indulgence, you can get yourself back on track really quickly. You know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to live your life, but how do I have fun but also not feel like just disgusting? You know, we've all those days. And I just really don't want to have those days any more than I absolutely have to. I know through my own journey that carbs, really simple carbs, and sugar are bad. If I'm gonna have carbs, I have to pair it with fat. So if I'm gonna have rice or, you know, I don't know, white bread or something, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of easy things that you would see a lot. I 100% am having that with butter or cheese. Like, there's no way I'm having plain, dry, whatever. It's going to be paired because the fat blunts the glucose spike of the carb. And I find for my body that it is like such a game changer for how I digest it and handle it. It's honestly, once I figured that out, I was like, wow. So if I'm in a spot where that's what's on deck, I'm going to have a lot of cheese that time. You get my point. So yeah, so that's my approach for like a sane, rational plan for how to eat during the holidays. If you have additional tips, advice, whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments. I hope this was helpful. I don't want to come across as like pushy. I just want these to be like practical. You don't have to go buy anything, but you also just keep your head on straight, you know, just keep a level head about something. I think people really, you go into the holidays and you see all this stuff and you're like, oh my God, I have to have it all. And like, but do you? I've also had enough years on this planet that it's like, I don't actually have to have all of the peppermint bark or all of the whatevers. It's okay. You know, it's okay. So you might be in a different phase of life. Whatever floats your boat. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season, and I will see you very soon. Bye.